What is up, guys? This is Nightmare, and today I'm going to be bringing you my non-CP in Battlegrounds stamina Nightblade called Toxicity. I want to dedicate this build Toxicity to all of the toxic players and all the people that send me hate mail and trash talk me every day. You guys make me want to become a better player every day and make me want to put you all 6 feet under. So with that, let's get right into the damn build. Alright, so with the Toxicity builds, this is for, like I said, Battlegrounds and non-CP. If you guys want gameplay for this build, make sure you guys check out my channel for the all my Battlegrounds episodes I will be putting on here. They will have commentary and they will be using this Stamina Nightblade build. This build, just like the Nocturnal builds, they are dedicated to a certain part of PvP. Nocturnals for CP, this one is for non-CP in Battlegrounds. However, they both can be played in the other type. Such, this one can be played in CP campaign if you choose to do so. However, it is designed to be mainly focused in non-CP. So first off, I want to go over the gear. Now the gear is very easy to get, except for one piece. The first piece is a sharpened greatsword of the Viper. I was able to actually buy mine in a guild trader for 60k. I'm pretty sure it is a bind on pickup set though, from a dungeon. So if you aren't able to get this sword, there are different variations that you can swap out and such like that. So sharpened is definitely going to be wanted on the main bar. And we have a poison damage enchant. Now the reason why we go with poison damage enchant is it is another proc. So as we do a melee attack, it's going to do the damage from our ability, the poison damage enchant, and the Viper will proc. All of these hitting at the same time is going to do lots of burst damage. Second up, we got our Master's Bow. Sharpens, you can use infused if you want. And the reason why I go with the Master's Bow is the extra weapon damage when you hit someone poison arrow, which I always use, and then the max stamina. So even when I use poisons, I won't get the extra damage from my poison arrow, but I get the max stamina. And the reason why I like the extra max stamina is heals scale better with max stamina. So my vigor is gonna heal a lot more since the max stamina bonus. For a one piece, we got a Moloch Kana. Weapon damage. Mine is infused with stamina enchant. Impin would be better. All of these enchants will be stamina, by the way. Now for our our second 5-piece set, we got Viper and we got Marksman. So this is why I decided to name this build Toxicity, because I get a lot of shit talk for using Marksman. People telling me it's not good, it sucks, all kinds of stuff, and I really don't understand why. Like, I understand that Dubious Throne combo with Bone Pirate is like really strong and like top tier. But what's the point of making build videos and trying to discover new builds if you don't try other things and other sets? So the Marksman set is a great set. Now it may not offer as much stam regen and as much max stam, but I'm trading that off for the reduced cost and extra bow damage, and I find that's a fair trade. So our jack is going to be Divines. We got a 2 and 3 piece stam recovery and a 4-piece weapon damage. So this is a sustained set. We got 2 and 3 piece stam recovery, and we get reduced cost on all of our stamina abilities, and we also get weapon damage. So weapon damage is going to increase our damage done, and then we get 8% more bow damage to players. That's even more damage. So Marksman is a sustaining set, but it still offers damage output. For our shoulder, we have a Divines Marksman. Again, these would be better Impin. Now for my waist, my belt, I have an Impin Viper. My hands is Impin Marksman. My legs are Impin Marksman. And my boots are Divines Marksman. Again, these would be better Impin. But I am playing with a pretty comfortable amount of Impin right now with non-CP, which I will show my stats later. I'm going to start playing around with my traits a little bit more I've been playing a lot with Divines and Impin. I'm going to try to start playing with like 5 Impin and 2 Well Fitted, which is also going to be good. Jewelry, I have my 3 Viper jewelry pieces, all robust, all weapon damage. So what this setup allows me to do is have 5-piece Marksman up at all times since it's on my body, and then my 3-piece Viper, my 4-piece Viper, and then my Greatsword is Viper. If you don't have the Greatsword Viper, don't worry, you can use any Greatsword you have that's sharpened, a Maelstrom or a Master's sharpened Greatsword. Now how you would have to fix this, since you need your 5-piece Viper, instead run a Marksman bow. So your Marksman bow would go here. You would take off your Viper Greatsword for, let's say, a random one, and then you would have to take off a Marksman piece here for a Viper piece, if I have one. Which I don't think. Oh, here we go. Okay, so it would be set up like this. So 2 Viper on the body, and then you have your 5 Vipers. So 5 Viper will be on both bars, so you're kind of wasting it with the bow, but that's okay. And then you'll have 1 Marksman, 2 Marksman, 3, 4, and then 5 on the bow. So you're only going to get reduced cost on the bow bar, but most of our most expensive abilities are on our bow bar, and then the bow damage is, of course, on the bow bar, and then the 1-piece Kina. But let me just switch back to my regular setup. Like that. So that is the armor. Let me show you guys my potions real quick. So I've been using these Essence of Immovability potions. These are going to give me immune to knockback, which is super strong in Battlegrounds, especially for flag capture. Major Savagery. This is going to give me 20% more weapon crit, or 10% more weapon crit, excuse me. Since I'm not using like Evil Hunter to get that buff, I'm getting it from my potions. And this is going to increase my damage, and then restore 7,500 stamina and major endurance. So this is giving me lots of stamina back, good defense with immovability, and it's giving me damage with major savagery. You can also continue to use these Essence of Weapon Power, but I'm trading out the major brutality for immovability, since I always have major brutality up. And then Essence Speed Potions are also good. Major Expedition, Major Brutality, and Restore Stamina. I'm mostly using these immovability pots though, as these are the best for me. Food, you can use Dubious Throne if you have it. I don't currently have any right now because I don't have my full Bone Pirate set, but you can use Zorga's, which is max health stam recovery, which I've been using. It gives you like 2100 max stam, or 2100 stam recovery. Your max stamina does go below like 25,000 though, but we already have so much damage output, it's really not noticeable. But I've been playing around with less stam recovery and more max stam, which is the max health, max stam food. So my stats look like this buffed up with Rally and Relentless. On the bow bar, we have 28.8 thousand max stam, 19.9 thousand max health, 3,200 weapon damage, and 44.5% weapon crit, with 1,300 with Relentless Focus. Sorry, 1,300 stam recovery, with almost 750 crit resistance. I usually like to play around 1,000 crit resistance, but 7,500 is good enough for me. That's the bow bar. Now if we switch to the 2H bar, we still have 1,300 stam recovery. Our max stam goes down since we don't have the master's bow, so 27.7. Our max health goes up to over 20k, which is important since we'll be in melee. We'll be taking more damage, so max health is going to be good. And then our weapon damage goes up to 3,366. Weapon crit is still 41.5, and crit resistance is 750. So very good stats, especially since we're using Viper to get most of our damage. weapon damage and stam recovery, or max stam is not that important. Weapon damage and max stam aren't important since we are using a proc set. So that goes over my armor. Next, I'm going to go over my skills. Skills are the same as always with all my other Stamina Nightblade builds with 2H and bow, but I'm going to start experimenting more with different ability setups as I go away from the bow, since I don't really like it that much anymore from the change they did to it. So Ambush is our gap closer. If you haven't checked out my last Nocturnal build, that build goes into these abilities a lot better. I'm still going to go into it a little bit here, but just not as much in detail, so definitely check out that build video also. Ambush is our gap closer, and it also empowers, so you can ambush into an end cap, and end cap will hit super hard. Surprise attacks are main spammable. It's going to give us tank stats for extra resistance to our self with shadow passives. And then we're also reducing the enemy's physical and spell resistance, which is good. Our main CC is Mass Hysteria. This is a fear, the strongest CC in the game, since we can drop people's block with it. Fourth ability is Reverse Slice. I choose Reverse Slice for the splash damage. However, you can go with Executioner if you choose to, or Killer's Blade. I just prefer splash damage with my Reverse Slice. This is our Execute. Rally is our major buff we use, and our major burst heal. 20% extra weapon damage and a burst heal. And then you guys all know in cap on our 2H bar. This is just our super hard hitting, very cheap ultimate. Next up, bow bar, poison injection. This is going to proc our master's bow whenever we don't use poisons, and this is also going to apply a dot, and it ticks even harder once they drop below 50. Now, this is another reason why I love my marksman set. My poison injection will crit, and it crits often. In execute range will crit over 5k. So when they're below 25% health, they already only have about 5k left. So this can finish people off very easily when it ticks. So this just applies tons of pressure, and I find myself getting lots of kills with this. On a non-crit, it's about 3k. Next up we have Shuffle. This is just going to be a defensive ability we need to keep up most of the time. It's very expensive, so I don't usually keep it up all the time, especially if I'm not taking lots of damage, but this is going to give us major evasion, 15% dodge chance, so you can just completely negate damage being directed at you with this ability. Next up is Relentless Focus. I find to be a very important Stamina Nightblade ability. Minor Berserk, Minor Endurance, 10% stam recovery, 8% damage done to everything. The Spectral Bow is not as important. I don't find myself using it that often. If I'm gonna shoot anything at range, it's gonna be a poison injection. So I'm using this mainly as a buff for damage and recovery. Vigor is our second heal, very important. If you don't have Vigor yet, just Zerg Red or something to get AP and get this ability. Next up is Shadowy Disguise. Now, Shadowy Disguise is good to engage on a fight because it's going to allow our first ability to crit, and this is also just invisibility, so another defensive ability to have that helps you get away. Now, something I've been having trouble with is making sure I save enough magicka to use my Mass Hysteria. I find myself, if I engage on a fight or if I'm using Cloak defensively, I drain my magicka and then I have nothing to use on Mass Hysteria, which is a much more important ability than Cloak. However, Cloak, as Chris brought up in comment section a couple videos ago, Cloak and then you can Vigor or Cloak and Rally. And this is gonna just allow your Rally or your Vigor to crit, and you'll get lots more healing that way. So thanks for that little tip. I did not know that before, or never thought of it myself. And then Flawless Dawnbreaker for 5% extra weapon damage on the bow. You can also go with Meteor. I just prefer not to use Meteor because it's a lot more expensive, and I don't find myself waiting to use Meteor when I can just use Incap. so that is going to go over my skills. Next up, I will cover my CP. Alright, so CP is not important with this build unless you're going to play it in a CP campaign. It's not important since this is a non-CP and Battlegrounds build. So 17 Shade, 28 Tumbling, 50 Tenacity, 60 Mooncalf, 12 Warlord, and 43 Siphoner. I'm just going to read through these real quick since, like I said, they're not important. 36 Quick Recovery, 15 to Elemental Defender and Hardy, 20 Thick Skins, 38 Resistance, 16 Ironclad, 75 Mighty, 38 Piercing, 28 Precise Strikes, 14 Thaumaturge, and 37 Master at Arms, 18 Blessed. So, if you need a little bit more detail for these CP and why I choose them, again, check out the Nocturnal build. Nocturnal build is a CP build, so CP is more important. I go into it in more depth, so definitely check that out. Alright guys, so I already explained why I like to use Marksman, but I want to just give a little bit more of an example. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to show how well the reduced cost works. Just very simply. So, I'm going to take off my Marksman 5 piece and just put on a random medium armor. Now I need to put on another medium armor piece because of medium armor passives. If I just leave the armor piece off, it's going to not be a accurate test. So as you can see now, I no longer have my 5-piece Marksman, so I'm no longer getting 5% reduced cost. And now if we go and check our skills, Shuffle now costs 3,716 stamina. Before it was costing 3,500. If you don't believe me, I will check it again. Marksman 5 pieces on, skills, Shuffle is now 3,500. Now that may not seem like a lot, 216 or 217 stamina, but this is going to be applied to all your abilities, and that adds up, especially when you're spamming abilities. And this reduced cost allows me to spam abilities a lot more than other people. I notice I am able to engage in fights with half stamina. Before, I wouldn't even think about engaging into a fight or ganking if I didn't have at least 80%. Now, with the changes to sustain in playing a non-CP, if I see an enemy I think I can kill, I will engage on them below 50% or even at 20% or 25%. The reason is I have so much damage output, and burst potential with my combos, and knowing how to play the builds, I'm able to go in at 25% stamina, spam all my hits, and still be able to get out with enough stamina to survive. If I didn't have that extra reduced cost, I would run out of stamina very fast. The reduced cost is important. Also, engaging into fights with about half stamina is still a pretty good idea, since you can heavy attack to get back stamina or resources. So that is something also to consider. So I just wanted to share that, guys, with you guys real quick. Just another reason why Marksman is a good set. Again, I'm not saying that Bone Pirate is a bad set, and I'm not saying Marksman is the best set. I'm just saying that there are other options in the game than just Dubious Throne and Bone Pirate. We have to be open to more ideas than just everyone running the same thing. The reason is we're never going to be able to become better as a community and increase our skill and our build potentials if we all just run the same thing and never experiment. So I challenge you guys to be creative, make your own builds, and if you make new builds, I would love to hear them, and please share them with me. The reason why I say this is I'm not trying to say that what I am trying to say is I appreciate everyone who makes comments in the comment section, because I always get back to comments when I can. But sometimes I just see people that say this sucks or that sucks, and they don't give reasons. And when I ask for reasons, they just don't reply, or they just say it's garbage. I'm like, okay, you're not worth my time. Obviously, you're just stubborn and ignorant. But if you give me reasons, then I'm open to that. And I love constructive criticism. It helps me become better as a player. And if you're just gonna talk shit, then you're gonna make me want to become even better. But anyways, the reason why I'm saying this is because a while ago I did this to another YouTuber, Kina PK or PKK, something like that. He plays Magic and Nightblade on PC, and he made a Magic and Nightblade build that was heavy armor and did nothing but tank, and I called him out for it. And he actually replied to my comment, and we talked for a little bit, and I was trying to explain that I wasn't just calling out his build, I was just calling out tank builds in general, DKs, Templars, and such like that. People who just stack shields or hold block and do nothing but that. Just become stubborn and hard to kill people that are just damage sponges. They're not going to kill you, they're just in your way and just annoying. And later on, he released another video, and it was him showing off the build even better, and I appreciated that, and he showed the group potential of how fast he can get back ultimates and all the utility and healing he provided for his group. He just wasn't a damage sponge. He was engaging in the fight, buffing and debuffing the enemy, and providing heals and ultimates for his group. So, in that instance, I agreed with the builds. So, I appreciate stuff like that. Alright, so that is going to cover my non-CP and Battlegrounds Stamina Nightblade Toxicity. I hope you guys like the builds. If you do like the builds, or if it encouraged you to try different builds or make your own builds, if you don't mind, please give me a like. And if you have questions, comments, or concerns, please let me know down in the comment section below, or any advice to me as a player. Also, I am releasing a lot more builds now as Morrowind has released, and I am enjoying Elder Scrolls Online again with this extension. So if you are looking for more content and more builds, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel so you guys can always be up to date on builds I release. So, till next time, I will see you guys later.